started well when the pain suddenly leaves. And now,
what's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Podcastin with Colossal. I'm your co-host, baby girl, Erin Marie, and here's your host and CEO of Colossal Step Entertainment, Garrett Hildebrand Sr.
Yo, what up, everybody? This your boy Garrett from Colossal Stepping Entertainment and your host with Podcastin with Colossal. Man, we want to thank you all for tuning in again this week for part 2 of our domestic violence series. For those who are survivors of domestic violence and those who are still going through domestic violence, we decided to have this segment for those who would actually like to chime in and share their input as to how they feel about domestic violence. Also, we are in the midst of planning a domestic violence summit where we're going to have some panelists would come out and share their stories of their bouts with domestic violence. We're also going to have a domestic violence counselor who will be coming in to kind of guide us through the steps of recognizing the green light and red light, the red flags of domestic violence, and how to know when you're going down that path. So, man, we want to do something that's going to bring everybody in. So this thing is not just about us. This thing is about trying to help other people who are going through domestic violence, because domestic violence is real. You have people who are out here who make a life, who thrive on, controlling other people. It's not just women who go through domestic violence. There's also men who go through domestic violence. But the thing about it is that I realized that a lot of men don't talk about it. A lot of men become so macho and their ego kind of takes over, where they don't want to tell about what happened to them, because because I guess they feel that they've gotten past it, and they kind of just keep thriving and going through whatever they're going through and living with it. But the thing is that then they start taking out their aggressions on their partner because of whatever happened in their past. And we want to kind of help people who are going through what they're going through with that and that type of thing. So if you know someone, or if you yourself have been through domestic violence, man, we invite you to call in 708-223-8953. Again, 708-223-8953. If you have been through domestic violence, or if you know someone who has been through domestic violence and you want to tell their story or tell your story and how you made it out, then we want to hear from you. We want to thank First, we want to thank Intellectual Radio Studios for allowing us to use this platform to be able to come on air and share with you all. First and foremost, because without Intellectual Radio, man, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to have this segment, and we wouldn't be able to talk about the things that we talk about, because we talk about topics that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Right.
We talk about topics that a lot of people ignore, and we want to bring light to what's going on in the community, what's going on in family life, what's going on basically in personal lives that people really don't talk about, that they've come to feel kind of ashamed about. And we want to kind of help you to heal through it and heal from it. Also, we want to thank Broadview Park District for their support. We also want to thank the VFW Post 2801 in Villa Park, Illinois, for their support. Like I said, man, without all of these entities, man, Colossal wouldn't be. So, with that said, we want to begin our segment. We want to begin our segment, domestic violence, and how it affects people, and how it affects the heartbreak and people's attitudes. Domestic violence is very real. I'm a product of domestic violence. People don't understand that when you're a product of a domestic violence, you kind of witness what other people go through. You witness how people equate the violence with love
Mhm.
and think that no, that it's okay and that is acceptable for people to basically put their hands on other people and feel that it's okay. And it's really not okay. It's really not, and it's okay not to be okay. Uh, you have to understand that domestic violence affects how you live. Domestic violence affects how you see things.
Mhm.
Uh, Domestic violence uh, affects how you accept certain things in your life. You know, because you start to accept nonsense that you should not accept. You start accepting verbal abuse. Um, you start accepting mental abuse. You start accepting emotional abuse. I mean, all of these things are part of domestic violence that people don't even realize. You know, because if you'll start allowing somebody to call you out your name and make you feel like you're beneath them, that's domestic violence. Especially if it comes from someone who is close to you, because domestic violence can take place not just in a love relationship, but it also can take place in a family relationship.
Okay.
Um, you can have people in your family who become your abuser. Um, People who think that, well, just because I am who I am, I can do what I want to do, and they're not going to do anything about it. And we've come to think that, okay, this is acceptable. We allow people to become condescending toward us. We allow people to belittle us and to make us feel like we're beneath them, or we're deserving of how they treat us. If we accept how people treat us in a mean fashion, or where they feel like they can just say what they want to say about us, they can call us out our name, they can make us feel like we're the worst person in the world, and you don't have to accept that type of thing. You really don't have to accept that, no, that type of behavior, because at the end of the day, God raised you to be a king or a queen. God raised you to become better than all of this, because I said there's a learning experience in it all. But the question is, did you learn the lesson?
All right.
What lesson did you learn going through domestic violence? Everybody learns differently. Everybody learns differently. I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you come from. Everybody learns about domestic violence differently.
Mm-hmm. And
If
how?
you've been no, if you've been abused by in any type of relationship, if you've been abused in any type of relationship, and you have never had opportunity to talk about it, this is your opportunity to really talk about what you've been through and how you made it out of it. Because a lot of people hold on to bitterness coming out of domestic violence relationships. Again, it doesn't have to come out of a love relationship. It can come out of a family, familial relationship. Well, you got
Yeah.
nowhere that your parent or your sister or your brother or whoever it is can become your abuser.
Abuse is, Timotheus, to answer your question, abuse, no matter if it's physical, mental, verbal, emotional. Abuse is abuse. And yes, like as your question, did you learn from me? Me, I'm still learning how to deal with my healing of my dispute of domestic violence. And, the way I started to process why I kept getting into these abusive love relationships, I had to, a year ago, almost, no, 2 years ago, exactly. I was like, okay, what is this pattern I'm going through? What is causing me to find these partners that are putting me down over and over and over again? But then I remembered it's, and like I said, abuse starts at home. It starts at home. And when I learned that, I buried what happened to me growing up, I start and so, with me being a kid, is an adult. Adults are that you're supposed to respect and everything else. So I didn't think of it as abuse until I saw it happen to others. So And I was like, okay, that's not normal. And did I ever heal from my abusers after a while? No, I just thought leaving was the best option for me, and it wasn't. I held on to bitterness. I held on to. I have major trust issues. I have to work through. I have major insecurity issues. I have to work through, because when you're going through an abusive relationship, either with family, friends, or a loved one that you're in a relationship with, it breaks you down to a shell of a person that you don't even recognize. It makes you feel like, you know, who, like, you start questioning, what am I doing wrong to cause this person to act this way? Let me tell you something. No matter what y'all do, that person will never be satisfied. That person will never be satisfied. They'll always find something to nitpick and put you down on, because it's their way of control. And I feel like, the reason people control you, like, get the sense of control, because something probably happened in their lives growing up that they never addressed. So and if it happens in their house, so they probably think, okay, if I seen this, maybe it's okay to do to another person, because you become the product of your environment, which is sad to say, because some people do conquer it, and do bury and, like, move on and be okay with what happened and make peace with what happened. Am I still making peace with it? Yes, I'm still making peace with my trauma and everything else. Do I forgive? Yes. Is it hard for me to forget? Yes, because it's like that the abuse made me a person of someone who needs reassurance constantly. I constantly need reassurance. I'm always a person that wants to please everybody, because if I say no, or if I do this, it means me feel less of a person. I'm learning to not do that. I'm learning to put up boundaries. I'm learning that it's okay to love me again. It's okay to know to go back to what you know as a person. Once you leave that abusive household or relationship, that you really need to really find an outlet to let it out. And Desiree, okay, the phone number to, if you want to call in, is 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. Okay, girl. If you want to come talk, you can as well. Like, you can call in right now if you like, because we want to also hear from you guys of your experiences of abuse. Yeah, and Timotheus, you are right. It does cause loyalty issues. It really does. You start questioning everything around you, friends, family, next person you get in a relationship with. Basically, if you don't heal yourself and deal with the trauma, you will bring that into the next level of your life, and everybody will pay for what that person has done to you.
That's a good point. So again, if you want to call in, the number is 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. We want to hear from you. If you've been through domestic violence, or if you know someone who's been through domestic violence, man, we want you to share that story and share and tell us how you made it out of it, man, because there are some people who are really going through some things in their lives, and they don't know how to make it past it. And like they said, that, man, that, yeah, it affects it gives you loyalty issues. It gives you trust issues. It really gives you serious trust issues, because after a while you start comparing everybody else to what you've been through in your past, and you start watching people's actions, and sometimes people's actions don't really line up with their words. You got some people who act on certain impulses, and it's like, and that becomes who they are. They become very impulsive. uh it's like they dwell on the negative. They dwell on the past. They no they even though if you raise your hand a certain way, they flinch. um and it couldn't and it's not always say a person raised their hand to hit you. They could just be, raising their hand to touch you, and and the person would flinch as though you're about to get ready to try to harm them, and that will let you know that's a good sign that this person has been through something that you know nothing
And it's
about.
also like if you get into a dispute with the person that you're with, and you've been traumatized by abuse, that you easily cry. Like you just it could be it's over something so little, but you just break down and cry because you makes you feel like, oh, I messed up, I was wrong, and everything else. And that's why I do that a lot. I've noticed because I'm being on TikTok and I'm learning that with the triggers of somebody who's been mentally and verbally abused, when, like I said, the person needs reassurance. The person cries a lot when there's a confrontation, that they flinch when trying to be touched. And it is very, very traumatic to, like, people who are very good for you to be around. It's like that they're trying to help you, but you're so guarded because you feel like, now since everybody else has hurt me, who else is out to hurt me?
Yeah. So again, man, domestic violence is a character killer.
Mm-hmm.
Domestic violence is an image killer.
Yes, it is.
It kills you from the inside out, and you carry the bruises around with you. Those bruises that from your past, they may not be seen now, but some people carry those bruises internally, and and the bruises is not so much on their mind. The bruises is on their heart, because when you put your heart into a relationship, and that person takes your heart and your love for granted and starts doing things to you that you never thought anybody would ever do to you, where they start accusing you of being out there cheating on them, and then uh, where is that you could be you can be around somebody and it's totally friendly, and then then all of a sudden they get so upset with you that they jump up in your face. That's the first time they jump up in your face, and it's like, but they know the thing is that they don't touch you the first time, but then it happens again. The second time it happens, this person puts their hands on your throat and tell you that if you do it again, you're making them do this to you. How are you making somebody do something to you that you can't even see or foresee them doing to you because you thought you were committed to them? The third time that they put their hands on you, they knock you to the floor and begin to slowly try to choke you out. Or they slap you in the face while they have you on the floor, or they begin to punch you. All of these are red flags, people. All of these things are red flags, and this is not love.
No, love don't hurt. It don't hurt. If y'all can see, I'm crying right now because it's just it's opening a wound a little bit, but I'm trying to stay strong. But it's not love. Love don't hurt. If somebody is belittling you or making you feel worthless or making you feel so bad about yourself, it's not love. That person has insecurity within themselves that they're lacking, and they feel like if like their control is basically making you sure that you don't leave. And it's like you feel like that person is not good enough for you, let them go. Just let them go. Having control is of a person doesn't make you a better person. It makes you a worse person. Because me, I have a big heart, and I always try to see the best in everybody. I'm the type that, I want to please everybody. I want to love everybody with my whole heart because I know what I've been through. I know the signs. I know the struggle of wanting to be loved and wanting to be accepted. That yes, I accepted a lot of stuff. I accepted a lot of things because, I didn't want to be rejected. But, in the end, I know who I am now. I know the person that I'm striving to be today. And if it wasn't for my family, it wasn't for me putting my faith back in God and getting the help that I need for myself and my sanity so I could teach my children how not to be that way. I have sons. So I have 4 sons that I don't and that I share and that I have
Just it's okay. It's okay.
mm,
It's okay. This is your truth.
my 4 sons are being raised by the person, my narcissistic ex-husband. And I'm afraid that my son, one or most of my sons, or will become what he is. And I don't want my sons to ever think it's okay to talk down to a woman or make a woman change into something that she is not. Because like if the woman has to change her whole outlook to be with you, she not the one for you. I'm sorry. She's not. It's not worth it. Because it's like even in like and I was like, and I have a daughter, and I want to teach her that, it's not okay for nobody to put her down, nobody to put their hands on her, nobody to make her feel less because because like I never let my kid, I never let my kids see that I was hurting because I always had to stay strong as their mother. But when you're in that type of environment and you start to realize that you're just only staying because of the kids. I'm sorry if I know if and a person threatens to take your kids away because you don't want any part of the abuse anymore, any part of the control. You want your life back, and they give you an ultimatum of all or nothing. And I chose to leave, and I got hit with the worst was my kids being taken because it's his way of punishing me. And I'm fighting now after 4 years that to get my children back because I feel like because now I'm a stronger self in myself. I have the love and support that I need to fight back because me, I married young. And when you're young and you get into these relationships, you don't really know anything. You think that you know everything because you're an adult and everything else. Like you can handle yourself, but in the end, you really can't. Especially if you don't have that support there when you're going through it, it makes it worse for you to get out. And like I said, I've been there where I've been in and out of abusive relationships, and it's like, that I left my marriage. I said no more. I'm done. I am done. I can't. My mental was destroyed to the point of no return. That I didn't trust a soul, not family. I only had was my friends, but then I started seeing who those people are. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe God, it's time for me to put my faith back in God and reconnect with family that I didn't have connections with. Maybe they can help me because I can't seem to help myself out of this situation.
Man, it's a powerful story. I don't know who else has a story that they want to tell. Good evening, Tracy. Thank you for tuning in with us. I know you've shared your story with me before. Um, and man, like I said, man, domestic violence does some horrible things to people. You know, the people who have the biggest hearts, who have given the most love, are the ones who have been run over by people who didn't care, or who you thought cared about you, who you thought had your best interests at heart, but yet they turned around and took that thing that you held near and dear to your heart and used it against you, and then made you feel like you were the worst person in the world.
And still do to this day.
And they make you feel like, man, I cannot make it through this thing. You're not worthy of it. Um, I got no, I got so much on you that I'll make sure that that if you ever try to do anything, I will bury you in it. You know, see, these are the people that we come in contact with every day of our lives. You know, we may not cry about it now, but when you think about it, I mean, when you really stop to think about it, that thing damages your heart again because you tried to bury something that you never healed from.
Mhm.
I know single women who are raising children who are trying to teach their children not to become the person that have that be no that were abusive toward others. But then there are children who have witnessed so much abuse that the children think that it's okay to abuse somebody else because that's what they witnessed throughout their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a real topic. I know October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well as Breast Cancer Awareness, but domestic violence goes on every day of our lives.
Mhm.
Every day, every month, there's some form of domestic violence happening in the home. It's not just women being abused. There are men being abused as well. Garrick, how do you know that there's men who are being abused? Because I've talked to some who are ashamed to admit it, that they've been abused by a woman. Um, there are women who use use their sexual prowess as a way to control the man. And if the man is not strong enough, if the man is not strong enough, he will allow that woman to rule over him because he's trying to prove how loyal he is to her, but at the same time, she's not being loyal to him. How can you say that, Gary? Because if you have to control a person, if you feel that you ever have to control a person, you need to release that person at that point in time. Because our ancestors were born into slavery.
Yep.
And domestic violence is another form of slavery. But this time it's an enslavement of the mind. It's an enslavement of the heart. It's an enslavement of your personal health. Because now it makes your personal mental state a ticking time bomb. Whereas that you feel as though every person that you're going to come in contact with is just like the person that you had your encounter with in your past. You don't do it consciously. You don't try to do no, you don't try to do it consciously, but subconsciously you're comparing the next person to that person who abused you. And then you start watching that person's actions. You start watching that person's you start listening to that person's words. And then you start hearing some things that you thought you heard, but you really didn't hear. But the thing is, no, that there was a word that was said that kind of triggered you. And then you automatically assume that person is out to hurt you. Again, we want to hear from you. 708-223-8953. We want to hear from you.
Y'all can call in if y'all want. If y'all like, the number is posted in my live. You guys like, but domestic violence is real, y'all. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365. Yeah, the person might come off nice, and they have this facade of I'm gonna protect you, I'm gonna love you, until months pass and start showing the real them. And me, well, I fought hard for people, so I always go in with the thinking of, oh, ain't like maybe they're not as bad as my past. I'm not gonna just assume. No, I always came down with my guard down, but now I'm the type that keeps my guard up. Like, am I trying building it down slowly? Yeah, but when you go into a relationship, your honeymoon phase, yeah, you going with rose gold glasses on, as my dad says. I went in with rose gold glasses on, and man, when that person exposed who they really were, it was like, what? I'm like, who is this person? Where did this come from? It takes you aback, and and you kind of feel, and deep down, me, I'm the type of person that I feel sorry for the person, because maybe the person that has never known what real love is either. And that's why I've stayed so long in those relationships, because didn't know what love was either. I was wrong. So I'm the type of person that loves to be loved, and I want everybody else to know what love is too. So if I stay, like, okay, if I do this X, Y, and Z, maybe that person will change. Man, ain't nobody gonna change for you unless they want to change. Let me tell you that now. A person gonna change if they want to change. If that person has deep down already had that inside them, that, like I've heard the saying like this: if people show who you are, believe them, believe it. It's not like a phase. It's nothing. If a person shows who they truly are, believe it. That's the real them. They have they have they have basically spun a web and trapped you, and then started showing the mask comes off, and that's when the mask comes off. That's who that person is, y'all.
What's up, Tim? Hey, man. Yeah, we're talking about domestic violence, bro. This topic, we had to hit on it because a lot of people live through domestic violence, and a lot of people don't talk about it. So we picked up this topic, and we're gonna have a summit on it. With the date is gonna be coming up. We're gonna be sharing with the date pretty soon once we get everything solidified. And man, we want people to come out and share their story about what they've been through, how they've gone through it. Um, this thing is real, bro. This thing is real. Um, I don't know about you, but I don't want to equate hurt with love. I gotta say that again. I don't want to be the type of person who would equate hurt with love. Um, you sit around and you hurt a person intentionally. You sit around and you hurt a person intentionally by putting your hands on them, by putting your mouth on them, by calling out their name, by um, making them feel like they're less of a person. All of these are signs of domestic violence. But people tend to accept it a lot more. Why would you accept something that would tear you down, that would destroy you from the inside out? Everybody has their own answer as to why they will accept it. Um, People have who are were in former marriages, and their exes were their abuser. Um, you have people who were in relationships with other people, and because that person had some type of strong insecurity, they turned that insecurity into a painful experience for you.
or use whatever insecurities you have against you.
So my thing is that if you have some if you're dealing with some type of insecurities, you have to search deep down inside and ask yourself, what is it that triggers these insecurities? If you have serious trust issues, you have to ask yourself, what is it that makes me not trust this person? Is the person doing something that gives you a red flag? Or did you see something from your past that triggered that insecurity that made you feel the way that you feel? See, everybody has a different way of dealing with these things. And I don't want nobody to leave this show tonight feeling like they don't have to not have to talk. They don't have an outlet, or they don't have a way to talk about what they've been through, because you have a way to know you have an outlet. We're giving you an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
We're giving you an avenue where you can actually voice how you feel. You can voice your heart. I don't know. We're not here to judge anybody because, like, again, I'm a product of domestic violence. My daughter has been through domestic violence. My wife has been through domestic violence. My 17-year-old daughter has been through domestic violence. Man, I have other children who have gone through domestic violence. So, man, trust me, as a parent, as a man who's been through it, who's heard about his children going through it, who's seeing his child battling through it or battling from it, man, it's not easy at all whatsoever. I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you come from. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how broke you are. Man, everybody has something that they're going through, especially with this topic of domestic violence.
And also domestic violence it's just like, when you feel like you have nobody because that person has isolated you or has turned people against you. Basically expose, like, when you start fighting back. What I've seen people send me videos of, triggers of how a person who is abusive, they will poke and poke and poke and poke. And then when you snap off or you try to fight back, they play the victim, which is very sickening to me because I'm like, I've been the victim this whole time. And the one time I start voicing that I want out or that I've had enough, you start portraying yourself as the victim of, see, I knew that you were crazy. I knew that you were this way. And now, and these people will go out their way to embarrass you publicly. They will go to social media because social media can be the most brutal jury of a public opinion, and they would put and posted that, oh, well, look what this person done. They did X, Y, and Z, and everything else. I was the one that was good, but guess what? When you're being abused, you're not gonna show the bad side. And I'm not the type to put nobody on blast. I'm not the type to expose that I'm being hurt or I'm being used or abused like that because I didn't really have support anyway. So, there was no point in me crying about it. But now I do have support. It's like that. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna put that person on blast. It's like that. And that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't never badmouth my abusers. I'm not trying to badmouth them at all. I'm just saying, I'm gonna say this genuinely. I forgive you. I forgive you for everything. Because after all that those people have done to me, I'm still standing. I have taken my power back. And that's why I came up with this subject because I want others like me who have gone through it or have seen it to take their power back. I'm going to be the voice for the voiceless because there are many who have also lost their lives to domestic violence. And that's why Colossal is coming up with a summit for domestic abuse awareness. And yes, like you said, we're gonna have a panel. We're gonna in the process of finding a domestic violence counselor and everything, and we'll let people tell their stories and how to watch out for what's a green flag, what's a red flag, and so it can help you in life of who's a red flag in terms of family, friends, or relationships. Because if that person's a walking red flag and you've been through what you've been through, walk away. Save yourself because that's just God showing signs that that person is not meant for you.
Man, but that's good. So when we look at domestic violence, like I said, Colossal is now we're in a process of planning a summit, a domestic violence awareness summit. Um, we want people to come out. We're building a panel of who's going to speak. Um, we know because some people have already stepped up and said they want to tell their story. And I'm grateful that people have already stepped up and said, I want to tell my story because, uh, man, these stories are going to be powerful. These stories will help people to heal and to recognize red flags in their own relationships that they've been through. Um, Tracy is going to be one of our panelists. I thank her for tuning in tonight. Um, she wants to tell her story. My wife Alice is going to tell her story. My daughter Ariel is going to tell her story. And we have some other young people who are going to be stepping up, who are going to be telling their story. And we're also going to have a domestic violence counselor who will be there in the building, who's going to help us through it and talk us through some things that maybe that we didn't recognize, from a carnal standpoint. And the carnal standpoint is the human standpoint of life, because we go through life with our eyes closed. We don't go through our life. We don't go through life with our eyes wide open, because we see what we want to see. We hear what we want to hear. We go to wherever we want to go. But when it comes down to that person takes everything that is you away from you. And then you become powerless. But as my daughter Ariel said, she took back the power. It took for myself and my wife to really have a strong sit down with her to help her understand that it's time that she takes her life back. It's time that she starts fighting for herself, fighting to get herself back. It's not about trying to prove to others that know what you can do and how you can go about doing it. It comes to the point where you have to believe in yourself enough to know that you're strong enough to make it through this life, because you have people in this life who are trying to take that life away from you.
And trust me, I'm still going through it. Even though I've left this person, I'm still going through it because of children. And it's sad children are dragged through this situation. But you know what? It's all good. I will have my kids back. And I will show that they didn't break me. My family and God got me. And I got me. And I want everybody just to know that you got you. And whoever your support system is, they got you. You are, and because guess what? Just because the person comes off like happy and everything that glitters ain't gold, baby. Everything that glitters ain't gold. So if you, like I said, that's like I spoke up. I want everybody else to also take up back their power, and to see that the person they used to be before the abuse, they can be that person again. And that's what I'm becoming. I'm becoming the person that I was again, but stronger, wiser.
So let me put this thought on somebody's heart and mind. This is a road to healing. Whatever this, wherever this road is going to take you, this is a road to healing. This is your road to take back your life.
Mm-hmm.
This is your road to help God mend that broken heart. This is your road for God to heal that broken spirit. Because that person who was once a fighter, who stood for the good of everything, now becomes the person who's fighting and for the bad in everything. And sometimes we become those people. We cannot allow ourselves to become the people that we're fighting against. We have a call coming into the Colossal line. We have a call that's coming in. Thank you for calling Podcast with Colossal. Who we have on the line?
Shatera. Hey, Hannah.
Hey, Hedda.
So what's up,
How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Now, tell us your story.
I kind of shared it the other day when I came on about what I was going through with domestic violence and everything, because I actually am a product of domestic violence as well as a survivor of domestic violence, from family violence to relationships to friendships to it at one point turned me into the abuser. And I didn't like that because I'm not that person. I don't like confrontations. I don't like arguing. I don't like fighting or anything of the sort. But what it became was a level of complacency and comfortability. I became comfortable, and I became just like not willing to leave those relationships or leave my family, because I'm like, okay, this is my family. This is my mom. This is my siblings. So they are all I have. If I don't have them, then I won't have anybody. Mm-hmm. But what it came to a point was, it's either my life or yours. And I chose me. And especially when kids are involved, it makes it a little harder.
Yeah.
But anything that's worth fighting for mostly is kids, myself and my children, because at the end of the day, if I'm not here, who's going to care for my children the way that I do? Right. Who's going to be there for them like I am? Nobody can be there for your children like you. So although my children are a product of what I went through, I would never get an abortion or give them away or mistreat them because of what happened to me, because it wasn't their fault. And like it was said earlier, a lot of times those that do go through domestic violence often make excuses for the abuser. And, it's like, oh, it's my fault that they're doing this. Maybe I should have listened, or maybe I should have done this. But, like you said, at the end of the day, domestic violence, domestic abuse, no matter where it comes from, it's never okay. And October is the month of it, but it does happen year round. And I just want to encourage somebody just to let you know, you don't have to wait till October to say something.
Right.
Chantel, let me ask you a question.
You don't have to wait till October to get out of it. If you can get out, get out. If you can't get out and you need help, listen, find you somebody that can help you, because there are people out here that can help you get through what you're going through. And to my head, I just want to say, as you know, I love you. I'm always going to be here to support you, to your dad as well. to your mom. Y'all some strong people. Y'all are really strong. And I'm glad and I'm grateful that I got to experience this again for the second time. And I do plan on coming back again. And as far as the summit, if I can get there, I'll come. But if not, I can definitely be there by way of, video, phone, or however it goes. Because I definitely would love to put my story out there as well. So I just wanted to say that to encourage you all. And, y'all keep going. Keep
let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you a question real quick. So for those who are viewing in, share with us what was a red flag for you in your situation?
A red flag, the narcissism. The narcissism was a very big red flag. And by me, and this is just me being transparent, 90% of my relationships that I was in, as far as personal relationships, were with a female. So, female and female together, it's tougher than male and female.
I agree. I totally agree.
And for me, the biggest thing was the narcissism and the constant, I'm sorry for doing it, but then I turn around and do it again. And I'm sorry for doing it. Then I'm a person, I am a human lie detector. So you could be lying to me and I know you're lying and I'm going to catch you in the lie and still allow you to lie. Until you get tired or I get tired of hearing the lies. So the red flags are, for me, like I said, the main one was the narcissistic behaviors, the controlling, not wanting to let go. The fact that you threaten my life or, you assault me because I don't want to put up with your foolishness or I'm done with your abuse. Those red flags of saying one thing and doing something else. Your actions not lining up with your words. And ultimately, like I said, it became a life or death situation and I chose to live. So I left.
Okay, so let me ask you another question before we wrap this up. So you said that you became the abuser. What turned you into the abuser?
Constantly being abused by the persons that I was in relationships with. When I did get out of the relationships, those that I was being abused in, whether it was family or, personal, I became the abuser to someone who was not doing anything to me. I was so angry by what happened, and it was just pent up anger and frustration and, lashing out at this individual because of what I went through, and I didn't have another outlet. So basically it was like bleeding on somebody that didn't cut me. And because I became the abuser, I became the one downing them and talking to them bad and, getting mad at them for no reason, cursing, yelling. And then it became physical. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like this. They don't deserve this. So in order for this cycle to stop, I have to heal. So I need to let you go about your way and I need to go about my way. And to this day, me and that person are still friends. We're able to be friends now. We've forgiven each other for what we put each other through. And I forgave myself, most importantly, for what I allowed myself to go through. I even got mad at God at one point in time. I'm like, how did you let me go through this? And you're the all-knowing, you're the one who created me. And this is not supposed to be happening. This isn't the kind of love that you give. So why did you allow me to go through it? And then I'm going to close it with this. If I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be able to help somebody else get through it.
Amen.
And that is how I see it. If I don't go through if you don't go through anything, you can't possibly have any type of advice, or you can't share with others how to get through something you've never been through. And because I've been through it on both ends, I watched my mom go through it. I watched my siblings go through it, both male and female siblings. Cousins, family members, friends, different people, you know, I watched them go through it, and I'm just like, at this point, I don't want my children to go through what I went through. So anything I can do to help someone else not go through what I went through, I'm all for it. And that's where I'm at, you know. That's why I try to connect with those that are really serious about helping others. And that's what I'm willing to do. And that's where I'm at today. I'm healing. You know, I'm single. I'm not looking to be in a relationship or be involved with anyone. I'm working on me and working on what my triggers are and getting completely healed from all the trauma that I suffered down through, you know, from my childhood up into my adulthood, in order to be able to eventually be with someone. And if that's God's desire for me to be with someone, if it's not, it'd be just me, my kids, my grandkids, and my dogs.
Right.
Well,
my kiddo, of course.
Right. But man, we thank you for calling in. We have to get ready to wrap this thing up. But thank you for your transparency, man. And we look forward to now hearing more from you. All right.
Definitely. Anything you guys need from me, just hit me up, and I definitely will, you know, make it happen.
I got you.
Have a great night.
Y'all as well.
Man, but thank you all for tuning in with not podcasting with Colossal, man. We have to wrap this show up, man. So we appreciate you tuning in. But look out for the summit that we're not going to be putting out pretty soon.
Yes,
and man, it's going to be a great experience. But from us here at Podcasting with Colossal and Colossal Stepping Entertainment, man, we have a set that's coming up on this coming Saturday at the VFW Post 2801 at 8 p.m. Man, come get your house on and get your step on with us at the VFW Post. We're celebrating our girl Cheryl, who's celebrating her birthday on that night. So, man, come out and party with us on this coming Saturday, October 21st at 8 p.m.
And we want to give a special birthday shout out to my great-grandmother, my father's grandmother.
Yeah, she's
happy
91.
Blessed 91st birthday.
Man, but from us here at Colossal, man, life is too short for us not to try to help each other out. Love each other through whatever you're going through, man, and know that God has you regardless of what you're going through. So, man, from Podcasting with Colossal, man, we look forward to seeing you again on next week. So from that point, man, we look forward to seeing you again. Holla at you. Peace.
Try.